So let me just share my screen. I want to show you what came up when I use Google Trends, right, to search for. I just put in the word midlife, and this was what came up, right? So hang on a minute. Yeah, okay. So I put in midlife, put under worldwide, past 12 months. And the number of people who search for this, the highest number is the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
Which
why?
is really interesting, right? Yeah, Netherlands. Like number
Maybe
one.
the people from Netherlands. Maybe the people from Netherlands can throw some light on it.
Yeah, if we have, people from... But you see the top three are European countries. So Netherlands, Austria, Germany. Followed by United States. Which is very curious, right? So let's say we go by... If we can... We go by city. City is a bit different than it's the US. So people in Portland and Pittsburgh seem to be searching this.
That's interesting. Completely two different countries altogether.
Yeah. Very, they're both from the US, but by city is like the highest. By region is Netherlands, So, but if you look at the topics, right? So we have related topics, related queries. But look at this, the awful ferocity of midlife desire.
Wow.
So what do you think this desire is about?
Oh, okay. I think, well, from a menopausal point, I think that's certainly affected because I get comments from both male and female.
Yeah.
So females tend to sort of talk about it a little bit more. Males will share that information with me just in confidence, but they also think that they're the only ones. Whereas the female tend to sort of share broadly, but the males are very individual, very private. And when I speak to them about they're not alone, it's actually quite normal. It's amazing their reaction to think that they're not the only one being singled out and affected by them. But yeah, definitely, I think there's a lot of things that happen around midlife, and whether illness has also got illness and setbacks have got a lot to do with that, which can influence the desire.
Okay, so for women, is it higher desire? For men, lower desire?
Lower for both, as in. Like what's desire? It could be desire for food, it could be desire for sex, it could be desire for I think it just like I'm talking, say, from a sexual point, libido point, the desire tends to lessen. We get a little bit older, and I think where the complications tend to arise is that when one is more desired than the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems to be a really big factor to compare to, when you're in your 20s and 30s and, possibly 40s, but definitely over 50s, there's definitely a big trend with that.
Yeah. The people that have come to me for coaching or therapy, right? For the women, just as they're about to hit menopause, not quite there yet, but premenopausal symptoms, the sex drive goes up. Yeah, it's like it goes up and it's something they've never experienced. And then it will go down quite dramatically just as they hit menopause. And for the men, it's just slowly just dwindling, right? For women, I think some women experience the very extreme up and down, which is interesting. And of course, desire for food, desire to buy. I think a lot of women resort to shopping, right? the kind of desire goes up. And
it looks a need, doesn't it?
Sorry?
It fulfills a need. That instant need is met, even though it's only temporary.
Yeah. And I find this one also interesting We have Midlife Magic Spoiled by Love, Cinderella Midlife Romance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a lot of people I know or I've come across or I've read about is that when they hit midlife, they get into this new romance. So they could be married or they may not be married, right? And that's where this applies to both men and women, right? Not just the men. Like we hear stories of men when they hit midlife crisis, then they look for a younger woman, that sort of thing. But the same applies for women. Something is changing, right? Within them, it's like going through hormonal changes when you were a teenager. Everything just goes a little bit chaotic.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is interesting. And look at the search results. It's up by 5,000%.
Yeah. I'm curious as to see what's behind all that because, yeah, that's massive, and it's something I never thought about. I mean, things you hear of, but I've never thought about. I've never thought to Google anything like that.
Let's see what it says, what else it says. I clicked on that and see what else. Cinderella Midlife Romance. So in the past 12 months, it suddenly went up in October. What's going on there?
Yeah.
Or maybe it has to do with a TV trend or a movie trend. Maybe.
Yeah,
It's
it could
tough to
be
say.
a lot of outside influences.
Yeah. So then we also have they start to go into this book, Explore the Midlife Edit, a transformative self-help journey for women. So
Yeah.
this one also went up, and it's a book by Gail McNeil. It's gone up by 1,000, almost 2,000%. So it's like rising, right?
Yeah.
And of course, hormonal drugs, things like that. I am very curious about midlife brain. Let's see.
Are we supposed to get smarter with age?
Or dumber. Okay, so the US. So a lot of it about brain, right? Middle age, brain. Maybe people are slowing down. Okay, no, let's look at beauty and fitness. Not enough data. I would think that, okay, let's see what's trending now. In terms of location, I think because this thing is real time, right? Okay, so anything we want to search for. What is this? Okay, so let's search for midlife crisis. In the past 24 hours, right? Look at in Europe, India, Australia, the US.
So I
Midlife
wonder what's
crisis.
going on with Germany and Netherlands at the moment.
Yeah. Something's going on definitely, right? In the European countries where people are really searching for more information. They need more information about what's happening.
Define midlife crisis because it could be just anything that, just might be a challenge and all of a sudden it's classified as a midlife crisis. But it might not necessarily be a crisis. It's just something that's happening, at that time that could have happened at 30 or 40. I think it's too broadly used sometimes, but it's the answer for the unanswered questions.
Yeah. I think when people put in these words, people who would search for these are mostly people in their 40s and 50s, I would think. Because
Yeah.
if you were young, you're not going to search for what's a midlife crisis, right? So they already have a problem or they're facing a challenge and they're not sure whether they are experiencing a midlife crisis. And so they're trying to compare. Like, is this what I'm experiencing, a midlife crisis? So, yeah, let's explore this further. Let me just stop share and let's talk more about this midlife crisis, and maybe we can answer the question for people who are searching for an answer, like what's a midlife crisis. In my understanding and in my experience in working with people, a midlife crisis is almost like a point in your life where you feel like you have everything going and then it doesn't feel that way anymore. And you feel like you're in crisis, like your identity it feels like it has changed. Your body's changing. How you look is changing. Some people are preparing for retirement even, and so the life purpose is changing. So they've reached almost like a crisis point. It's like they no longer know who they are, and the compass has gone haywire. That's how I would see it, in my own experience and in dealing with my clients. What about you, Alina?
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of, putting it, because it's when, the environment that they know has changed.
Mm,
And like you said, there's no compass point and there's no direction, there's no understanding of what's going on, and everything is just all unknown because of your timeline.
yeah,
And how much longer do I have? Other people around you, their health is starting to change. Am I going to be the same? There's a lot of things about, cancers and turbo cancers, and, is that going to happen to me? And most people, want to age gracefully. And also when their time comes, they want to go as peaceful as possible, without
yeah,
suffering. So all of a sudden there's these concerns that we didn't really have when we were younger. And,
yeah,
as we're sort of broaching, I mean, I know unfortunately a lot of people that start to, their end of life is, in their 50s, for whatever reason. And then, when you're 20 and 30, that's not really a concern because it seems such a long way away. Whereas now things like there's an urgency to do things, whether it be to explore, there's that curiosity that they might have always had where they might want to, travel somewhere or explore things or do something. Then there's that urgency to do it because
yeah,
time might be running out.
yeah. And I think also, um, when we were growing up, right? I'm sure it's the same for you. Like, in our generation, when we think about getting old, right? We think about aging gracefully. We think about wanting to be healthy, and we look, it's not like we're looking forward, but it's something that we foresee, that we are going to get old and that this is going to happen. But I found that with the younger generation, like people in their 30s and maybe even in their 20s, they will always say things like, I don't want to live that old.
Oh, wow.
The current generation, the
Wow.
millennials and the Gen Z, I've encountered quite a few in my coaching, and they will go, but I don't want to live that old. I said, what do you mean? Oh, I think, 60, maybe in my 60s, then that's enough. Or like, they don't see themselves living till like a ripe old age. Like our generation, we think of like ripe old age, like 80 or beyond. But the younger generation, like, oh, I don't want to live that old. Why do I want to be around for so long? It's like, wow, what have they been through that they feel like life is not worth living, or like they don't want to live that long? Or I wonder if it's also the fear of aging. That could be the thing that is, because they grew up in a totally different environment, right? With social media and looking at fake pictures of themselves, like, so they can't foresee themselves aging. I'm not sure whether that's it, but it's quite a different mindset. And I was actually very taken aback by these comments that they would make very casually. And I think is a very common, maybe it's common in the conversation where they tell each other, I don't want to live that long. But in our generation, it's very different. We say, oh, we live to a ripe old age. I want to be healthy when I'm that old, and we kind of, in a way, like look forward to it, in a good way. Very interesting, right? So maybe for these younger people, they're gonna hit their midlife crisis at a far younger age because of how they are seeing the world or seeing themselves. I wonder. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll hit it at 30 then.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just so different. So anyway, back to what we were saying.
That's a shame, that's really sad, to
It
think
is.
that, what's going on in their world that's just so bad that they don't have something
Yeah.
positive to look forward for.
Yeah. Quite different. Yeah. Quite different from
Yeah.
how we see it.
Yeah. Whereas,
Mhm.
the biggest goal is to be able to move properly so that you can enjoy, as much as you can out of life, and also to be as healthy as you can. so that you can, not have any restrictions. And yeah, that's really sad.
It is. I'm also very curious, like what made them, like what led to that conclusion, right? That they would say, I don't want to live that long anyway. So it's like they don't want to plan for the far future, because it's like, oh, there's no point, because I don't think I'm going to be around that long. That sort of a thinking.
I
Yeah.
wonder if that changes obviously with maturity though, because, they're so disconnected, from something that's so far away. But
Yeah.
as we know, someone in our 20s, someone in their 20s has completely different outlook and mindset to someone in their 30s and
Yeah.
someone in their 40s. And, like life happens as well. Like what happens, they might not be family oriented, they might be really career focused, and all of a sudden they might just meet someone out of the blue, someone just totally
Yeah.
unexpected. And then all of a sudden they're building this family. Now,
Maybe.
I wonder if they've got a beautiful family around them. They've got all the things that they didn't know that they wanted, but just adored and love and treasured.
Yeah.
I wonder then if they would feel different.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you wonder. But
Yeah,
I
if they're
guess,
just judging on their current environment at that time.
but at the same time, I think if we compare ourselves, right, when we were in our 20s and 30s, I don't think well, at least I didn't think like, I'm not going to live that long, or I don't want to live that long. I never had that
Yeah.
thinking. And maybe it's, I don't know, maybe also what we watch in the movies and TV programs were quite different. Very typical, like growing up watching things like Little House on the Prairie, these American TV series, right? Happy Family, and then you have the
The Waltons.
grandparents. Yeah, like you have the old people, you have the grandparents. So it's very normal, right, to have a very elderly people in the scene. So I wonder if that has changed, where the younger people are not seeing that much of it, and they can't visualize, or they can't self-reflect. I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think too, society's changing.
Yeah.
In a big way. And, obviously, grandparents nowadays, their role is changing as well. Once upon a time, grandparents used to retire. Like there's been so many different changes when you think about, like in my grandparents, days and when they were younger, as opposed to how things have changed now, grandparents of today. A lot of grandparents are helping out with families now, with babysitting and childcare and things like that. That just wasn't even really looking with my grandmother when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I think society's got a lot to do with it as well. And admittedly, I know when I think I was 16, I didn't think I would ever make it to 30. 30 seems so far away, because I remember Nostradamus's prediction was around that time.
Ah.
I knew when I calculated when this, it was in, the year 2000, I went, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm going to be 30 then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my God, I can't. They seem so far away. I just thought I would have been dead before then. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just couldn't relate to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
guess
now it's
because
25 years later.
yeah, and I think because the Nostradamus thing was trending a lot, right? I mean, we were at that age, we were all reading things like that. We said, "Oh no, it's going to be end of the world when we're 30." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right. And that's the same as like the Bermuda Triangle.
oh,
That was massive, and Yeti and, or, Bigfoot. You don't hear any of that nowadays.
you don't.
No, Loch Ness Monster. There's,
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of fables. So yeah, you just I remember being I said the Bermuda Triangle. I was just petrified of that, because I heard all these stories and thinking, oh, is it really real, or is it, or is it just a made up story? Like no one really knows, but you don't hear about that now.
yeah. You don't. I mean, there were a lot of like documentaries, right, on TV, where you watch like, oh, it's like this mysterious thing. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, it's just I just read something really interesting that is not covered by mainstream news.
Mhm.
Under the pyramids in Giza, do you know that
Just read something about this.
just, yeah, you read, yeah,
Yeah, this discovery.
the columns and is 2 kilometers down.
It's massive.
But it's not covered in mainstream. You see a lot of it on X, you see a lot of it on TikTok. But mainstream, not so much. It's like not like no one's really talking about it. But it's amazing. And then, using the new technology, right? They kind of, create the visual of how it looks. Pretty amazing. I mean, if you look at the scale, right? The columns down into the earth is massive, and the pyramids are so tiny in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, it's well, I haven't opened. I only just saw the quick article that I actually, two of my colleagues had shared, and I just quickly had a look. And went, oh, that's a lot to read. Excuse me. I'll look at that later because I'll come back to that later. But I got the gist of it. There was a new discovery, and it was just like this big wow factor because of this huge big, with the technology that they've got now, the way that they're able to pick things up, and it was like, wow, like. It's mind-blowing because we can't comprehend it.
Yeah. And then you think, okay, this happened a very long time ago. Where did
Yeah.
the technology come from?
Yeah, and then it's dating back
aliens?
a lot longer than what they thought.
Yeah.
They said that I managed to read that the pyramids are a lot older than what we think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what our viewers think, and if they have more information about this, let us know, feed us, post the links in the comments below.
Yeah, definitely. And like we're always on the search for like we always like to investigate, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. I know, it's amazing. And like, I think nowadays, because, we grew up with, like I grew up with, studying ancient, Egypt, for instance, and the pyramids and the pharaohs, and I was just fascinated by it. But I don't know if that same type of fascination or thirst for knowledge is there today, growing up to compared to when we were children.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe our viewers can enlighten us a little bit. And because I'm not going to say it's not because I don't know. I'm just curious because, that's something that we can relate to in our years growing up because we've all sort of come across it. But I don't know with the younger version. The younger version of us.
But I wonder also if because information is so easy to access, that maybe there is no urgency to want to look for information immediately. I know, I'm just guessing. Because you know that it's there, right? It's easy to access. So maybe less of an urgency. You know what? I'm very curious now to search Google Trend. I'm going to search pyramids
Yeah.
and see. Let me just share screen with you in a minute. Ooh.
Well, that's interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
Australia got to mention.
because this news came up on the 16th. Oh, so slightly different, right? When we put this
Yeah.
in Great Pyramid of Giza, we have US, Canada, Australia, UK, Norway. But if we just put pyramids, then Ireland comes up. I wonder why. So yeah. So there is interest, right? It's kind of trending. And then
There you go. There's the structures discovered underneath.
yeah. Oh, well, we search under structures discovered underneath. The UK, a lot of interest. I mean, UK is so small, right? But there's a lot of interest.
We should be, because the documentary that I'm looking at now, it says groundbreaking discovery, Egypt and pyramids. New technology discovers 8 giant columns extending 600 meters below the Great Pyramid of Giza, with spirals extending down the columns and connected by a network to other pyramids far below the earth. Proving Egypt is far older than previously thought, but raising questions as to the purpose. Energy power plants? Caverns of ancient knowledge? Yeah.
Maybe it's where they store their spaceship. The rocket.
There might be some logical explanation for all this.
Wow.
It keeps us guessing, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, curious to see what else they're going to discover, right?
Yeah, definitely. I wonder
Yeah.
if our viewers can throw some light on that as well.
Yeah.
Some
I wonder.
inside knowledge.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I
from
think that's
midlife, from midlife to pyramids.
well, we go with the flow easily enough, can't we? It's incredible. Like, there's so much information, accessible to our fingertips. The hardest part is, I find, finding information is just knowing the right keywords
Yeah.
to pop in, or even how to ask, say, Google,
Yeah.
how to ask, what, your search topic is. And there's an answer for everything.
Yeah. I have found, like, if you want to find very specific topics, because sometimes Google is very general, I do ask ChatGPT for it. I ask because I have the paid version, right? So I will ask ChatGPT to search through the entire World Wide Web to look for information for me,
Yeah.
to search through, because then it will look for the information. Like, it's my research buddy, like, it would look for information for me, and I can streamline it in any way. And it's far more, of course, Google, we have Gemini, but I've not started using Gemini. I have no idea. Yeah.
Gemini, I've not heard of that.
Gemini is the AI for Google.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay. Well, I wonder what their take is on the findings of Egypt now.
There's a new, it's not that new, but it is a search engine, and it is called Free Spoke Search. By far the most neutral. It can be frustrating to use it, especially if you want information fast, because it will show, it's very neutral. It's not going to show you what is trending. It's not going to show you what is more popular. It's just going to show you what is. And then you have to put in your legwork, so to speak, and you have to look through everything, but it's very neutral, right? Because Google tends to show you what is trending, what is more popular. It shows you pushes topics that are more popular. So you may miss out on some vital information if you use Google. It's not neutral at all. So Free Spoke is very neutral. You got to put in more work.
Well, that's good to know, because a lot of people, get their information from Google.
Yeah.
And, rely on Google, and particularly if they've got health problems.
And so
I say, don't Google, you'll always find an answer.
Yep. And it's always from one perspective, right? It's not. So this is a tip for midlifers. If you want to look for information, don't just rely on Google. You're not going to have it's very biased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just be careful there. Not everything you Google is truth.
It's a bit like mainstream media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They'll only report on what they want you to know. And people think that because it's news,
that
they're getting the right, first-hand information. And it's not until they start to look outside the box and then start to get, the real information starts to filter through, is when the questioning starts.
Yeah.
But if they only sort of watch that one source of information, they think that, that's totally reliable. And, through COVID, that actually helped me open my eyes that there's more to than meets the eye.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's good. I think it's good to question things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to. We cannot just rely on technology all the time and to make a decision for us, or to show us, we need to question.
Yeah, and also too, not to rely on other people to give us that information.
Yeah. For sure.
This is Alina from Noosa, Queensland, Australia.
And this is Shamala from Singapore, signing out. Bye.
Bye.